VK3 AML, VK3 ND in the 525 net.
We all have junk. It's a matter of keeping the habit in check. I tell you what, though, I'm missing Hamfests. I mean, quite apart from the social aspect, getting your hands on junk to occupy your time in a pointless project that produces virtually nothing 6 months later, at least it passes the time. I'm looking around the shelves here at some of the junk I've acquired from Hamfests, which has given me hours of contemplation, but not much pleasure. No, look, I'm exaggerating, but I am missing the fact that Hamfests are not happening, because that was an important, face-to-face contact for this hobby, which is now sadly gone, and I can't see it coming back for a year or so. Ever been to a Hamfest, Tom? VK3FTOM, VK3AML.
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTOM. I thought I've seen you at a few.
Oh, yeah. Go there frequently, come back with all sorts of junk. Not quite as much as some of my friends. I mean, usually when Steve Langley, 3SL, goes to a Hamfest, he asks me to help him because it takes two people to carry some of the trash that he takes away. VK3FTOM, VK3AML.
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTOM. I remember the last one that I went to. It was rather amusing. I walked in the front door and Craig MET was, I think he was logging out some massive spectrum analyzer, and I'm sitting there. I don't know if it was spectrum analyzer anyway. It was some sort of bit of test equipment, and it was probably the size of a modern air conditioning unit. This thing was massive, and yeah, I'm certainly missing the Hamfests and all the social things as well. VK3 Alpha Mike Lima to take, then pass it around to ND from 3FTO.
Yeah, well, if Craig ever gets tired of using it as a spectrum analyzer or whatever, he can take the guts out of it and rent it out to a refugee family. VK3ND, VK3AML. It brings up a few arguments. We have our Hamfest at the Great Rari, and it's not big enough. I mean, we knock back so many people wanting tables, and we've tried to cut down on some of the junk. You see a lot of it at Rosebud, where, in fact, they just back a trailer in full of junk, and I am convinced that if you don't buy it, they take it straight down to the tip at the end of the Hamfest. So, we don't have any facility for that, and we don't really have a big enough car park to have a car boot sale. Well, we probably could if we wangled it better, but we need to get the people that load their stuff in and get their cars and then piss off with their cars, because they tend to leave them at the front and nobody else can get in. So I don't know, we need to really rethink a proper thing. And the one I like, I don't know, I've watched a couple of Hamfests in America, and the one that I really, really thought was the best was they had an open car park, an elevated open car park, and every level was car boots. So all you did is walked around. So people that would normally have a table would have the table, but their car would be behind it. So they'd have the car. And so you would walk down the aisle down the centre, and you could just go to each one. And who uses these multi-storey car parks on a weekend? They're all empty. So we're just going to find one that's accessible, that we could have the public go into and have the car boot sale. That's probably further down the track now that we've got a committee that actually want to do something. Tom?
Yes, Greg, VK3ND, VK3FTO. Yes, or isn't... I thought Dayton was the best Hamfest idea in America. If only we had something like that here.
Yeah, Dayton's good. It's basically 5 aircraft hangars. Well, probably not that big, but they're basically 5 big buildings. And plus you've got 2 footy ovals. Oh, I don't know that they call it footy over there, but 2 big footy ovals out the back with car boots, where everyone turns up each day and sets up. So you're laughing there. So you've got the 4 different buildings, which have actually given them all different names, like Hertz and Volts and Watts and all that sort of thing, which is really good if you can remember which one it was. Because once you go through one, you sort of forgot, is that that one. But yeah, something like that would work out well. But the problem you've got in Australia is that we're too sparsely populated, and you would only end up having one Hamfest. And at the moment, the way it works is you've got probably 5 or 6 Hamfests during a year, so it's 5 or 6 times you can get together, where you probably with one would be a bit minuscule. Is that the word? VK3AML, VK3ND in the 525 net.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned, ways and means Hamfest can be improved. The one that really impressed me, because it has a program of lectures as well as the Hamfest itself, and the campus is large, is the one the Southern Peninsula Amateur Radio Club holds down at Rosebud. That can be really spectacular. The problem with it is that it's well off the principal public transport routes, and it's remote. I mean, for me to get there, I have to arrange with all sorts of friends for a lift. Whereas with Great Ryrie, I can get to a local railway station at least, and make my way out. But yeah, if only Rosebud was a little bit better, a little bit closer. That's the one that most impressed